Love doesn't fall apart overnight. It fades quietly through small, invisible cracks, the kind you don't even notice until it's too late. A missed call, a short reply. The silence that used to feel comfortable now feels heavy. That's how most relationships end. Not with an explosion, but with quiet distance and unspoken words. But here's the truth most people never realize. It's not the big fights that destroy love. It's the little things we ignore every day. The pride we hold on to, the apologies we fake, the feelings we hide behind, "I'm fine." Yet if you can learn to see those cracks and fix them before they grow, your love can become unbreakable. In this video, we'll uncover 6 psychological tips to make your relationship stronger. Not through grand gestures or perfect words, but through small, powerful habits that build emotional safety, trust, and real connection. Because the strongest relationships aren't built in moments of passion, they're built in the quiet decisions you make when no one's watching. Tip 1. Never talk about breakups. Every time you mention breaking up, even in anger, even as a joke, you plant a seed of fear. And once fear enters a relationship, love starts to lose its strength. Psychologists call it emotional safety, the invisible foundation that allows love to grow. It's the feeling that no matter what happens, you're both still choosing each other. When that foundation cracks, even slightly, the whole connection starts to feel unstable. Think about it. How can someone open up, be vulnerable, or share their deepest fears when the threat of losing you hangs over every argument? When you say, "Maybe we should just break up," what your partner really hears is, "You're not safe with me." It's not the fight that hurts most. It's the uncertainty. Because once love starts to feel temporary, people stop giving their full selves. They begin to protect, to pull back, to withhold. Even joking about leaving can do quiet damage. It creates doubt, a small whisper that says, "Maybe they don't really mean it when they say they love me." Over time, those whispers turn into distance. Strong relationships aren't built on perfect harmony. They're built on the shared belief that no argument is stronger than your bond. When both people know the door is locked from the inside, that walking away isn't an option tossed around in anger, it creates emotional safety. And in that safety, love can deepen. So the next time emotions rise, pause before you speak. Because love doesn't need threats to survive. It needs reassurance. Even in the storm, let your partner know, "We're in this together." Tip 2. Don't say you're okay when you're not. One of the quietest ways love begins to fade is when honesty disappears. You smile, say, "I'm fine," and pretend everything's okay. But deep down it's not. And over time, that silence becomes a wall. Psychologists call this emotional transparency. The courage to let your partner see what's really going on beneath the surface. It's not about oversharing or constant emotion. It's about truth. Because when you hide your real feelings, your partner is left guessing. And when they guess wrong, the distance grows. Think of how many arguments start not because of what was said, but because of what wasn't. When you say nothing's wrong, you rob your partner of the chance to understand you. You create confusion where there could have been clarity and silence where there could have been connection. Eventually, both people start walking on eggshells, afraid to say the wrong thing, afraid to ask what's real. The strongest relationships aren't built on constant happiness. They're built on honesty, even when it's uncomfortable. When you're open about your emotions, you invite your partner to do the same. You build trust, the kind that says, "You can see all of me, even the parts that hurt." Remember, pretending to be okay doesn't protect your relationship. It poisons it quietly. Because love doesn't need perfection, it needs presence. So next time your heart feels heavy, say it, not with blame, but with truth. Because "I'm not okay right now," said with honesty, brings 2 people closer than "I'm fine" ever could. Tip 3. When you say sorry, mean it. The word sorry is easy to say, but meaningless if it isn't backed by change. In relationships, apologies aren't about erasing the past. They're about rebuilding trust. Because forgiveness doesn't come from words, it comes from accountability. Psychologists describe this as the difference between remorse and repair. Remorse is feeling bad for what happened. Repair is showing through your actions that you understand the damage and won't repeat it. When someone apologizes without change, it tells their partner that the pain wasn't truly understood. And nothing destroys emotional trust faster than a repeated hurt disguised by a hollow sorry. True accountability means taking responsibility without excuses. It means saying, I see how I hurt you, and I'm willing to do the work to make it right. It's not about being perfect. It's about being genuine. Because in love, sincerity matters more than flawlessness. Apologies that heal are quiet but powerful. They come with patience, with listening, and with small, consistent effort. When your actions begin to match your words, your partner starts to feel safe again. And that safety is what allows love to grow back stronger than before. So the next time you say sorry, pause. Ask yourself, do I mean this enough to change? Because I'm sorry without effort is manipulation. But I'm sorry followed by growth. That's love learning how to stay. Tip 4. Don't compare your past with your present. One of the quietest ways to break a connection is through comparison. When you measure your current partner against someone from your past, you don't just hurt them, you trap yourself in a memory that no longer exists. Psychologists call this rosy retrospection, a cognitive bias where we romanticize the past, especially when the present feels difficult. You remember your ex not as they truly were, but as your mind edits them to be softer, easier, more loving. But that's not reality. That's nostalgia wearing a halo. When you bring those memories into your current relationship, it sends a silent message. You're not enough. And nothing kills intimacy faster than that kind of comparison. Your partner shouldn't have to compete with a version of someone who only exists in your head. Every relationship has its own rhythm, its own lessons, its own imperfections. The person in front of you isn't your past, they're your present. They deserve a chance to love you without standing in someone else's shadow. Instead of asking, why isn't this like before? Try asking, what can we build now? That's emotional maturity. It's choosing to see the value in what's real, not idealized. Because here's the truth, your ex isn't better. Your memory is just kinder. And love only grows when you stop comparing and start appreciating the person who's choosing you right now. Tip 5. Forget about your pride and ego. In every relationship, there comes a quiet crossroads, one where you have to choose between being right and being close. And most people, without realizing it, pick the wrong one. Pride whispers, don't give in first. Ego says, they should apologize, not you. But love doesn't survive in that kind of battleground, because love isn't about winning, it's about understanding. Psychologists describe this as the conflict between ego and empathy. The ego wants to protect itself. It hates vulnerability. It would rather build walls than admit pain. But empathy, that's the bridge. It listens. It softens. It says, let's fix this together. When both people let their egos take over, every argument becomes a power struggle. No one's really listening, just waiting to speak. The problem isn't the fight itself. It's the distance pride creates after it. Love at its core requires humility. The courage to say, I care more about us than about being right. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you emotionally strong. Because it takes strength to lower your defenses and choose connection over control. You can be right or you can be close, but not both. When pride fades, empathy rises. And that's when love becomes a partnership, not a competition. Because in the end, the strongest couples aren't the ones who never argue. They're the ones who argue, let go of ego, and find their way back to each other, every single time. Tip 6. Show appreciation for the little things. Love doesn't die when people stop caring. It dies when people stop noticing. In the beginning, appreciation flows naturally. You say thank you for the smallest gestures, a text, a hug, a cup of coffee. But over time, those small things start to blend into the background. What once felt special becomes expected. And slowly, silently, gratitude fades. Psychologists call this positive reinforcement. It means the actions that get noticed are the ones that repeat. When you acknowledge your partner's effort, even something as simple as washing the dishes or remembering your favorite snack, you're reinforcing love itself. You're saying, I see you, I value you. And that validation fuels connection more deeply than grand romantic gestures ever could. The irony is, the longer we're with someone, the more likely we are to take them for granted. The very person we once couldn't stop appreciating. But love isn't maintained by big anniversaries or perfect dates. It's built in the daily details. The soft thank you is the small compliments, the gentle recognition that says, you matter. Think of gratitude as the oxygen of love. When you stop giving it, the relationship begins to suffocate, not from conflict, but from emotional neglect. So notice the little things again, the way they smile when you walk in, the effort they make even on tired days. Because appreciation doesn't just keep love alive, it deepens it. And in a world where everyone wants to be seen, sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is, I still notice you. In the end, love isn't about perfection. It's about patience, honesty, and choosing each other every single day. So tell me, which of these 6 do you need to work on most? Comment below, and remember, real love is built, not found.